Some curses never break, they only grow stronger. Hey everyone, welcome back. If you've been following this series, you already know the origins. We've uncovered the darkness behind the nun, unraveled the chilling beginnings in Annabelle creation, and even faced the terror again in the Nun 2. So by now, you know what to expect from this cursed doll. So let's dive headfirst into Annabelle, the movie where that evil breaks loose and invades the lives of an unsuspecting family. This is where the haunting truly begins, and the stakes get real. We're going to break down every moment, expose the hidden clues, and see how this chapter pulls the threads tighter in the ever-darkening tapestry of the Conjuring universe. And if you're here for all the scares, the secrets, the deep lore, and just love movies, then you're in the right place. So hit that like button and let's not waste any more time. Let's get into Annabelle. The movie opens with two girls and a man sharing the chilling story of the doll. They recall how it began with strange signs, limbs and body parts oddly out of place. One day, the doll was found in a completely different room, moving on its own. Soon, they discovered the doll was possessed by a girl named Annabelle Higgins. Now, for those who've seen Annabelle creation first, this might seem confusing. The original girl who possessed the doll was Annabelle Mullins. But later, Janice, the girl possessed, changed her name to Annabelle and was adopted by the Higgins family, becoming Annabelle Higgins. So the legend now centers around her. One of the girls mentions her mother gave her the doll as a birthday gift, but no one knows where it really came from. We jump back 1 year earlier to a church during a ceremony. Mia and John are there, attending together. Beside them sit Mr. and Mrs. Higgins. Before moving on, I would like to make a quick correction. In Annabelle creation, I mistakenly referred to Mia as Sharon, but Mrs. Higgins' name is Sharon. Now back to the movie. So after the ceremony, Mia, John and Mr. Higgins come out, but Sharon stays behind to pray a little longer. Mia goes back inside to find her. Later, as they return home, the two couples have a little chat, and when Mia and John reach their doorstep, we learn that the daughter of Higgins, Janice, who became Annabelle, ran away 2 years ago. Also, John has a bad habit of not locking the door. That night, Mia and John are in their unborn daughter's room. John surprises Mia with a brand new Annabelle doll. Now this one is not the original one from the Mullins house. This is a new one, which isn't possessed yet. Later, the post-credit scene of Annabelle creation rolls. Across the street from Mia and John's home, the Higgins are murdered. Mia hears a scream and tells John to check. They go out and John enters the home of Higgins. He returns bloodied but tells her it's not his and urges her to call the police. Mia rushes inside their house and calls the police. Then, she finds Annabelle, holding the doll, saying she likes the dolls. Suddenly, a man appears and stabs Mia in the stomach. John quickly comes and fights off the attacker and tells Mia to run, but she's too wounded. As the man overpowers John, Janice runs and locks herself in the baby's room. The police arrive, shoot the man, and break into the baby's room. Later, Mia is being carried out on a stretcher. Passing the baby's room, we see that Annabelle has slit her own throat in suicide. The doll lays in her lap, and a drop of Annabelle's blood falls onto its face, seeping into its eyes, bringing the doll back to life, possessed once again. A news broadcast reveals the chilling truth. Annabelle ran off to join a cult, and the attacker with her was also a cult member. Following the attack, doctors prescribe bed rest for Mia for the remainder of her pregnancy due to the trauma. Back home, she and John stand at the doorway of the baby's room. John assures her he had all the blood cleaned thoroughly, but Mia, still uneasy, quietly closes the door. Later in their own room, John comforts her. Mia makes him promise that if it ever came down to saving her or the baby, he'd save the baby. John promises, but reassures her that everything will be fine. That night, as they sleep, the loud sound of a sewing machine fills the air. John quietly gets up to check but finds no one there. He turns off the machine and, while heading back, notices the baby's room door is open. When he tries to close it, the doll is in the way. He places it on the rocking chair and shuts the door. The next day, Mia is in bed watching TV when the cable suddenly glitches. She throws something at the screen, shutting it off. Moments later, she hears creaking sounds from the baby's room. She checks, but the sound stops. The doll just sits motionless on the chair. Carefully, she closes the door. Later, John returns home, telling her he has to go to Sacramento for a day-long meeting. Mia says she'll be fine. As they walk back to their room, John mentions that the detective on the murder case wants to speak with them. Inside the baby's room, the doll sits on the chair again, but this time, its upper body is slumped over the armrest, face turned toward the wall. Mia tells John they need to get rid of it. Annabelle was holding that doll when she died. They head into their bedroom, leaving the doll behind them. Later, John takes the doll and throws it into the trash can at the side of the house. Soon after, the detective visits. He tells John and Mia that they've confirmed the female attacker was the Higgins daughter, and the man with her was her boyfriend. Both were members of a satanic cult. The detective adds that he'll share any new findings, but Mia quickly says that unless it concerns their safety, she doesn't want to hear anything more about it. That night, Mia relaxes in bed watching TV and John offers to make popcorn, puts it on the stove, then comes back to speak with her, only to find she's already fallen asleep. He quietly returns to the kitchen and switches the stove off. The next morning, John leaves for his meeting, leaving Mia on her own. Later, Mia works at her sewing machine while the TV plays nearby. In the kitchen, the stove's knobs slowly turn on by themselves, and the popcorn begins to cook. At the same moment, Mia pricks her finger on the sewing needle. She goes to the bathroom to wash the blood off, then returns to her seat. Suddenly, in the kitchen, the popcorn bag bursts, sparking a fire. Smoke fills the room. Mia smells it, rushes in, and sees flames spreading. She starts coughing heavily, trips, and tries to crawl toward the door, but something unseen snarls and grabs her leg, dragging her back. But before something ugly could happen, the neighbors rush in, pulling her to safety. Later, in the hospital, John runs in hurrying into Mia's room. He apologizes to her for not being with her, but she tells him that it's okay. The nurse brings their newborn daughter, whom they name Leah. Then, Mia tells John about the stove, convinced the house is haunted, and says she will not go back there. John promises she won't have to. John and Mia have now moved into a new apartment. Some time has passed, and they're heading to church. During the ceremony, baby Leah starts fussing, so Mia quietly steps outside. The priest notices and, after the service, comes out to meet her. He asks to take a photo of her holding Leah, then tries to bring up the Higgins family, but Mia politely dodges the subject and walks back to John. They head home. In Leah's room, Mia unpacks boxes and arranges dolls on the shelves. She pulls out another doll, and freezes. It's Annabelle. Strangely, she doesn't look frightened. Instead, she wipes dirt off its face. John walks in and is shocked. He swears he threw that doll away. Mia brushes it off, saying it must have gotten mixed in during the move. John offers to get rid of it again, but Mia insists on keeping it. It was a gift from him. She places it on the top shelf. Later, Mia naps on the couch while Leah sleeps in her crib. In the background, a woman in a white dress silently walks past the bedroom doorway. Moments later, she appears in the lounge, bending over Leah's crib. Leah makes a small sound, waking Mia. She looks around. No one's there. Leah is sitting up, making soft noises. Then, Mia takes Leah out for a walk. As she heads down the stairs, she sees two children, a boy and a girl. The boy is making drawings and the girl has a doll. Mia greets them warmly, and the girl seems curious, but the boy pulls her back, saying they shouldn't talk to strangers. Mia smiles politely and continues on her way. Mia takes Leah out for some fresh air. She stops outside a little bookstore, its window display featuring a worn, unsettling book titled The Devil's Welcome. Then, a woman named Evelyn steps out, warm smile on her face. She greets Mia, bends slightly toward the stroller to admire Leah, then presses a small children's book into Mia's hands before heading back inside. Mia returns to the building, but on the stairs leading back to the apartment, something catches her eye, a crayon drawing lying flat on a step. She picks it up. It's of her, pushing Leah in the stroller. A few steps higher, another drawing. Same scene, but now, a van appears in the background. Her heartbeat quickens. Another drawing, left on the next flight. The van is closer now, almost behind them. Then, one more sheet. She picks it up with trembling fingers. The van is shown smashing into the stroller. Later, in the apartment, she hands the drawing to John for him to see. He frowns, telling her they'll speak to the kid's parents. As they talk, the camera drifts to the other room. There, on a chair, sits the doll, head slightly tilted, as if listening. That night, Mia sits at the dining table, quietly eating while the music player hums softly in the lounge. She gets up, switches it off, and heads back to the kitchen, but moments later, the music clicks back on by itself. Frowning, she returns, turns it off again, and scans the room. A window stands open. As she moves toward it, a sudden gust blasts through, making her stumble back. Something darts past her. A little girl in a white dress. Mia rushes into the hallway, but it's empty. A sewing machine whirs from the other room. She steps inside and shuts it off, but outside the door, the girl stands watching her. The door begins to close on its own, and as the child runs toward it, her form shifts. Suddenly she's the grown Annabelle Higgins. Mia screams, but the figure vanishes. Later, she tells John what she saw. He chalks it up to postpartum anxiety, but she insists it was real. John suggests they speak to someone. The next day, they meet with Father Perez, who urges them to face whatever this is together. That afternoon, they run into Evelyn. They chit-chat a bit and Evelyn offers them a neighborhood tour. Back at the apartment, Mia is sewing when she hears a loud creak echo from somewhere in the flat, but nothing's there. She then puts Leah in her crib and as she leaves the nursery, the door creaks shut on its own, the doll sitting inside, motionless. Then as rain pours outside, Mia goes to the basement storage. As she puts the item away, she hears loud baby cries drift through the hall, and a pram rolls into view. She approaches slowly, flashlight trembling in her hand. The crying stops. She lifts the cover, but a black, clawed hand lunges at her. She stumbles back, and Malthus stands at the far end of the hallway. Mia bolts for the elevator, noticing an A burned into her arm. The doors open, but when she steps out, she's still in the basement. She presses the button again, same result. The third time, the lights flicker and the elevator dies. She spots the stairwell exit and runs for it. Leah's cries echo in the dark as the thunder rumbles. She stumbles and when she looks down, she sees the demon's hand. She continues to climb up and looks back. Malthus is there, unmoving, watching her. A flash of lightning reveals its face inches from hers. Mia bursts into the apartment, slams the door, and clutches her marked arm. Outside, the night is silent, as if nothing happened. The next day, Mia removes the bandage from her arm. The skin is smooth, unmarked, as though the burn never existed. Later, the detective is at the apartment. Mia asks him about the case and he spreads photographs across the table. Images of Annabelle Higgins, scenes from the crime. He explains the cult's purpose, their attempts to summon something from beyond, something inhuman. Mia's eyes catch on a picture of Annabelle's body slumped against the wall. Beside her, scratched into the plaster, is the same jagged A that once burned into Mia's arm. She asks the detective if she can keep this picture. Before asking the cult's name, the detective tells her the cult's name is the Disciples of the Ram. In the afternoon, Mia wanders the dim aisles of the bookstore, fingers trailing along the spines in the religion section. She pulls a book free, but before she can open it, Evelyn appears beside her. She asks her what she's looking for but Mia avoids to answer, but Evelyn assures her that she's seen a lot of things in her life, and won't think Mia is crazy. Mia finally shares her fear, her family is being haunted. They move to another aisle where Evelyn tells Mia that she's also had such experiences in her life. In the apartment later, Evelyn reveals it is no ghost but a demon that plagues her. The light catches a scar winding up Evelyn's arm. She then shows Mia a pendant, inside, a small, faded photograph of her daughter. She tells Mia that she has to protect her family no matter what anyone thinks of her. Later, Mia pushes Leah's pram back toward the apartment. She stops in front of the building, fishing for her keys, which slip and clatter to the ground. As she bends to pick them up, the reflection in the glass door catches her attention. While the pram begins to roll backward toward the street, we see the reflection in the door as Annabelle, holding the doll. Behind her on the pavement, the truck appears suddenly, its brakes screaming, colliding with the empty carriage. Mia stands frozen, clutching Leah against her chest, her breath ragged. Back inside, she sits on the couch with the occult book open on the table. Leah plays nearby on the floor, the faint sounds of her toys tapping against the hardwood. A familiar shape in the illustration stops her page turning, the same jagged A, surrounded by text describing rituals and summoning marks. She rises slowly, walking toward her daughter. A creak sounds from Leah's room. She steps through the doorway, scanning the crib and corners. The room is empty, save for the delicate, chiming notes of a child's lullaby playing somewhere unseen. The door slams shut behind her. She rattles the handle, but it refuses to move. Through the narrow gap beneath the door, she sees into the living room, books tumbling one by one from the cabinet beside Leah. Mia's breath quickens as she kneels to look closer. The doll falls into view on the far side of the door, landing inches from the floor where her eye meets the gap. Mia grabs a chair and smashes it into the door lock. The wood splinters and the door swings open. She rushes into the living room, scooping Leah into her arms as the child bursts into tears. By the window, the doll begins to rise. Light spills across it, revealing Malthus clutching it in his clawed hands. Mia screams. Downstairs, John hears and races into the apartment. He finds the room in chaos, furniture overturned, belongings scattered. Mia stands shaking, clutching Leah, begging him to protect them. That night, Father Perez arrives. He asks Mia to bring him the doll. She moves cautiously into the room, lifts it from the shelf, and carries it into the lounge. Perez explains that demons can use objects as conduits until they can claim a soul. Mia's voice trembles as she fears for Leah, but Perez assures her that a soul can only be taken if it is offered. He mentions a married couple who have worked with the church before and offers to call them. Until then, he will take the doll to the church, where the demon will be too weak to follow. Mia and John thank him. Outside, Perez tosses the doll into the backseat of his car and drives away. Inside, John tells Mia to rest. He'll stay with Leah through the night. She asks if Perez can really help. John insists he will. On the road, the car radio begins to crackle. A distorted voice cuts through. "May God have mercy on your soul." Perez shuts it off. In the backseat, the doll's eyes slowly turn blood red. Perez reaches the church, retrieves the doll, and starts toward the entrance. In the car, Annabelle sits motionless. Perez glances back and sees her standing outside, watching. He quickly opens the door, but before he can step inside, an unseen force blasts him backward. Blood streaks across the pavement as Annabelle picks up the doll and walks away. Later, in the hospital, John spots a group of nuns and goes into Perez's room. Back at the apartment, Evelyn is keeping Mia company. In the ward, John watches over the unconscious priest. Mia quietly asks Evelyn how her daughter died. Evelyn says they were in a car accident years ago, and when she woke up 3 weeks later, her daughter was already gone. At the hospital, Perez stirs awake. He asks about the doll. John says he took it to the church. Perez shakes his head. He saw it. He felt the evil's presence. He knows what it wants, Leah's soul. John reminds him it can only be taken if offered. Perez's voice hardens. A child, he says, cannot offer its soul. John calls Mia, urgency in his voice, telling her to leave the house immediately. But all she hears is static. The line isn't working. He shouts that he's coming, then hangs up. A knock echoes at the door. Mia opens it to see Father Perez standing there, his back to her. She asks if everything's okay, but he doesn't respond. She places a hand on his shoulder. He suddenly raises his head, screaming, "May God have mercy on your soul." Mia stumbles back. The door slams shut on its own. The room begins to shake. Evelyn rushes in, asking what's wrong. A baby's cry pierces the air. Mia sprints to Leah's room, but the crib is empty. Only the sound of crying fills the ruined space. She searches the apartment as Evelyn freezes, sensing the presence. "We need to leave now," Evelyn urges. Says that they'll come back for Leah later. Just then, footsteps scrape across the ceiling above them. Both women look up. From the shadows, Malthus drops down, lunging at Evelyn. She's thrown outside the apartment, the door slamming and locking her outside. Mia races through the apartment, calling for Leah, but only echoes answer. She returns to the lounge and sees the doll sitting upright on the sofa. Her voice breaks as she screams at it, demanding to know what it wants. A crayon rolls out from a side room. Mia follows it. On the ceiling, scrawled in jagged writing, are words and symbols, her soul, and the same A mark. In the crib lays the doll. Mia grabs it and smashes it repeatedly against the crib, sobbing for her daughter, as she drops the doll. Then she sees her, Leah, lying motionless in the doorway. Mia rushes to scoop her up and starts crying, but as she cradles the body, the sound of a doll's mechanism clicks. She looks down. It's not Leah, it's a simple doll. Mia hurls it away and stumbles to her feet as the door slams shut. She cries out, begging for her daughter back, screaming there has to be another way. Her eyes shift to the window. "Your soul." The window creaks open. She walks toward it slowly. Outside, Evelyn bangs on the main door, shouting for Mia to open it. John arrives, sprints into the building, and charges upstairs, calling Mia's name. Inside, Mia murmurs, "Mommy's gonna save you," Leah, stepping to the window as she sees the doll on the floor. John bursts in with Evelyn. He sees Mia poised on the ledge. She tells him to take care of Leah. John pleads with her to come down. There must be another way. She says there isn't and turns to jump. But John lunges, grabbing her, pulling her back inside. She struggles, sobbing, telling him to let her go. Evelyn tells her that your daughter needs her mother. But Mia begs them to let go. John holds her tight and says there must be another way. Then Evelyn's voice cuts through. There is. Then they both see. Evelyn is standing at the window, doll in her arms. She meets their eyes, holds the pendant in her hand and jumps. They rush to the window. Far below, Evelyn lies lifeless on the pavement, the doll beside her. Inside the apartment, Leah's cry echoes. They turn and see her. Mia runs to the crib, finding her daughter safe. She lifts her, holding her close, shaking with relief. 6 months later. At the church, Father Perez asks if they've had any contact with the doll since that night. Both Mia and John say no. Perez hands them a photograph he took of Mia and Leah together. They thank him and leave. In a quiet store, the doll sits on a shelf. A woman points it out, saying she wants to buy it for her daughter. And here's an Easter egg. Behind her, on another shelf, sits the real Annabelle. The woman picks up the doll and the screen cuts to black. On-screen text explains that the doll remains in the Occult Museum of Ed and Lorraine Warren, where it is blessed twice a month. In the final shot, the doll sits, locked inside a glass case. As the movie comes to an end, and that's where this chapter in the Conjuring universe leaves us. A cursed doll, a shattered family, and an evil that refuses to rest. Annabelle isn't just a story about a haunting, it's a story about how darkness seeps into lives quietly, finding the smallest crack and tearing it wide open. But remember, in this universe, nothing happens in isolation. The events you've just witnessed are threads in a much larger web, one that's been quietly weaving itself across decades. Every death, every possession, every flicker of shadow, all of it is connected. And trust me, the deeper we go, the more those connections will come to light. From here, the timeline only gets darker. The evil becomes bolder, and the hauntings we've seen so far are only the beginning. Because the next case will take us into the home of the Perez family. The haunting that brought Ed and Lorraine Warren face to face with a force unlike anything they'd encountered before. This is where the Conjuring universe truly ignites. If you've been following this series, you know every single movie ties back in ways you might not expect, and the next chapter will bring us even closer to the heart of it all. So if you don't want to miss what's coming, hit like, subscribe, and tap that bell icon so you're ready. Because next time, we're not just telling a story. We're stepping straight into the Conjuring. This was Plot Explained, and I'll see you in the next one.